Hello, hi guys, welcome back. All right, so let's go ahead and jump on in Capricorns and see what storyline we get. All right, this is going to just be free for all, freestyle here. But what's the central theme? Two of Cups in the reverse. But hold on, we got a couple of others that came out sideways. We have Hierophant and we have a Hermit. So all right, so we're starting out with some strong Virgo Taurus energy, a lot of earth energy, really, in general, right? And then the fact that we've got that water energy, the emotional bond that seems to be in question. This could be someone who is thinking, feels kind of like this Two of Cups is a false twin flame. Doesn't have to be, but it starts to look that way. Almost as if maybe our Capricorn is contemplating something, saying, I'm stewing on it, I'm brewing on it, I'm thinking about it. Is my higher self leading me to this? What on earth am I to think about all of this? Ms. Hermit, hey sweetheart, how are you? Uh, Ms. Hermit, do you want me to pull a card for you tonight? You were on with me late last night, and I didn't get a chance to because I was done for the evening. But I kept you in mind. Let me know, okay? At the end of this storytelling, if you would like me to, I will. Okay, hon. Um, okay, you got it. This this Capricorn to me is looking like they're really questioning whether or not this situation is still meaningful, or if this should be released. We've got a Queen of Swords in the reverse. We've got a Princess of Swords in the reverse. A lot of reversals, a lot of tough energy in this. It almost feels like a Capricorn is saying, I just don't know if the pain is worth it. Let's put it that way. It's stirring up feelings of frustration in me. It's stirring up feelings like I don't understand. I don't feel what I'm supposed to learn from this, when it's, any lesson that I could potentially learn is being blocked by my frustration. And so why have I dealt with this if it isn't adding up to something that makes sense? Is it making me stronger? Is it making me better? Is it making me feel safe? Is it making me feel calm and wise? What if none of those things are, those emotions are being elicited out of me, then is this something to hold on to? Instead, it kind of looks like, I would say that this is our Capricorn is recognizing that something has just been downright frustrating and upsetting. And I think, to me, this says that they're pretty much done with that whole scenario, that whole attitude, that whole, what it's stirring up within them. We have the Judgment card. We have the Eight of Wands. Okay, so this could be the real reason why our Cap is thinking so heavily about it. Has this person reached out, or does Capricorn sense that they're about to? Did they just get a communication, or is a communication about to come in? Possibly like right around Halloween or something for this particular character. I only say that because this feels like a Halloween, like party. We've got people coming out of coffins and, kind of like out in the graveyard. It feels like spooky vibes here, but it almost seems as if either this Capricorn is saying, I know I'm going to bump into them at some Halloween party, or I know that something's going to happen around a certain timeline, and my ex is probably going to try to get things going again. So it almost feels like this Capricorn is like meditating on stuff, thinking like that we had a bond, but honestly, it feels pretty tarnished. And when I think about it, even though once upon a time, I mean, this could have been like Capricorn was saying, this is the person I wanted to marry. How could I now think that this was definitely not the meaningful connection that I thought it was? And in fact, when I go over in my mind, what I'm filled with is some pretty irritated energy, and I just don't see what is there left for me to deal with or contemplate. Yet we've got an ex that just might be trying to ask for a reconciliation. It's like Capricorn is they're preemptively trying to say, I'm not going to deal with this. I will not put up with this. I will not do this. We have the Moon. We have the King of Wands. This is still for them. And we have the Six of Swords. Here's the thing. Capricorn does not need to take this person back. Not at all. Not at all. But this person may actually love Capricorn to the extent that they can. they may never have told Capricorn that, since the moon is things that are hidden, right? And this moon card has 2 towers on it and a gigantic tarantula. This is like, for whatever reason, why ever this character in the past was seemingly unable to give this kind of warmth and love and exude this kind of caring toward Capricorn. I'm not even sure if they understand why they couldn't do it before. The moon says it was always suppressed. And yet here's all of this evidence of love, and they want to scoop up Capricorn and drive away with them in their sidecar and, leave that Halloween party and drive off and, have some new beginnings someplace. And I just feel like Capricorn is in this completely opposite opinion. They're like, no, thank you. None of that for me. I don't even understand why I ever dealt with them. Okay, when we get to an impasse like this, I always say, let's turn to the universe. Let's ask the universe, what was the purpose of all of this for Capricorn? The card was sunny side up. It still ended sideways, and it is the Prince of Sacred Circles, which is the Knight of Pentacles in any other deck. Okay, so this whole thing, we can't really address it until we slow it on down. There was assumptions made, and this could be on Capricorn's part, this could be on their part. Maybe because it says that things needed to slow down for both of them. We have the Wheel of Fortune, which is a very sad and sorry card because my puppy ate it when he was a baby. There is some energy here where these two, they sucked together in the past. What Capricorn says about, like, I do not even understand. This doesn't feel like it was anything special after all. It was awful when we were together. It really just served to frustrate me. All of that is probably totally true, because it's almost like these two weren't even supposed to try getting involved at that point in time in the past. Now, the bottom line is, in this fictional story, we see two characters who obviously already had history together. At this point in time, this ex wants very much to connect now to Capricorn, reconnect, I should say. And now they want to be lovey-dovey. Now they want to express all kinds of things that they didn't before. The universe says this thing shouldn't have even gotten off the ground previously because it was not the right time. It's only the right time now. Why? Sorry, but I'm nosy. 10 of Swords. Oh, somebody was still in the midst of ending a situation. Someone still needed to have a completed cycle before these two were going to have success together. Hi, sweetheart. We got a 6 of Wands. That was my dog. I was baby talking. Sorry if you wonder why I just suddenly drift off screen and start whispering love words. It's my puppy. You notice how with this Ace of Pentacles, we have a very definitive line drawn. To have a new beginning, there needed to be a defined line between one ending so something else could begin. If there was going to be success, there couldn't be any kind of confusion. And I feel like that's all this person was to Capricorn. Capricorn might have been very like, wow, this should be amazing. This should be an incredible bond. Why is it only eliciting stress and hurt and pain and frustration? And this is not my twin flame, and this is not what I asked for at all. But I sure thought that they were supposed to be my everything, and instead it just caused me a lot of grief and pain. Probably because previously there was nothing but confusion. There were blurred lines. There was not a concise ending and a true connection that was built between these two. So I think from Capricorn's perspective, it was like, this is some weird, mushy, confusing, like, I don't know what they mean. They're not being straightforward. They're not showing what their intentions are. This is just, look, a Queen of Swords expects very clear intentions to be stated, and then they expect somebody to back it up. What they say better be what they do. When that doesn't happen, the Queen of Swords gets pretty pissy. And that's what Capricorn kind of like got pushed into, is that emotion of like, I'm being trespassed on. Someone's not honoring boundaries. I feel like they're not honoring me, and now I'm pissed off. that looks like it's because these two should not have even been involved in the past, according to what we see here. No wonder it was messy. It wasn't the right time. They shouldn't have even been trying to tango. Um, why did they tango? How did that happen? Nine of Swords. I don't know if it's just, and that one actually came up as like on edge, leaned up against other cards. So it was the way that one landed. That was a really strange position for it to be landed in, by the way, because it was up on point, which almost like never happens. We got the Hermit. They met during a time where there was stress and confusion and loneliness, and maybe these two kind of fell into each other's arms a little bit, or there was just they met during a time of duress. One or the other of them was going through it, and so sometimes we form bonds with people maybe because it's not our normal way of being. We're not in our normal environment internally. We don't feel like our normal confident selves. We're kind of in this place where we bond to somebody, but it's a bit of, I'm not going to say this was a trauma bond. I'm going to say that it's more like it was a really stressful time. Like, okay, let's put it this way. Well, this is not, I'll use this as an example, even though this is not maybe the best one, but once upon a time I was traveling and I was in Rome at the time, and I was standing in line to go into this little tiny church to hear some opera, and the people in front of me were from the total opposite side of the United States. But because we were the only Americans in line, it was like we were pals. Like we didn't know each other, but it was like, oh my gosh, so cool to talk to somebody, who speaks English when, we're very submerged in another culture. And all of a sudden it was like we knew each other when we didn't at all. The bonds form sometimes, whereas if I was in the United States, it would be like, you don't think much of it because we're all used to each other. But when you're someplace out of your environment, sometimes you bond with somebody in a different way. And I'm going to use that as an example to describe maybe the way these two found each other in an unexpected scenario, or in this case, more an unexpected emotional state where there was stress instead of something happy like travel, like I was just using as an example. But a bond was formed that wouldn't otherwise have occurred. But here's the tricky part. It feels like this character, this King of Wands, actually really has emotion for our Capricorn. The problem is this has been botched pretty badly, because I think Capricorn has a pretty poor opinion of this whole situation at this point. And I'm willing to say that I think the person that was kind of in that stressy, unusual situation was probably that King of Wands. So it doesn't mean that they didn't truly form a bond to the Capricorn. In fact, what we see is they really did. But were they in a place where they could honor that bond or really connect properly? No, they might have gained comfort from Capricorn, but in truth, they were still in this silent hermit's journey. So they kind of might have, I hate to say it, but like been a bit of a succubus for, Capricorn's kindness and their fine and beautiful energy during a time when they were pretty lonely. However, doesn't mean that they didn't still actually form a sincere bond to Capricorn, which is what this is suggesting. Now they're in a different place. Now they're no longer that hermit. They're no longer that stressed out Nine of Swords. Now they're the King of Wands, and they want to talk to Capricorn. But at this point, Capricorn's having none of it. So what might occur here? Because it keeps feeling like Capricorn knows that they're on a collision course to meet up with this person. It does feel like some party or some family event or some holiday event, whatever this is, or friends getting together, some gathering. We actually have a 10 of Sacred Circles, and we have the Justice in the reverse. For me, when Justice is in the reverse, that's when things actually get made right that were wrong. Libra energy there. But it kind of looks like there's a real potential for these two to actually set some things right. You notice that, obviously the effort is going to probably have to be on their part, because right now Capricorn's like, I see no reason for me to deal with this again at all. but they're pretty much determined, is what we saw with that, the Six of Swords upright and the King of Wands upright. They have a lot of warmth that they'd like to share and express. Now, that's only if the Capricorn is going to choose to give them that space. But it does look like some things really need to be addressed. A lot of things that are unknown. We've got that Ace of Swords in the reverse. I just feel like this character does not want to let go of Capricorn, and Capricorn, by contrast, does not want to let them back in. The Tower. There's an element here where I think they have a lot to say. I think they have a lot to explain, and I think that it may change the perspective on things. If there's a lot that they haven't expressed to the Capricorn, which we saw with that Moon card, it could change Capricorn's mind quite a bit when they do express a lot of what they were going through and what was going on with them and why they behaved a certain way. It just, in this storyline, I'll just say it, it doesn't appear that they were intending to cause grief to our Capricorn or disregard them or disrespect them. I think that still is what happened. It was definitely a byproduct of what happened, because they shouldn't have been dealing with the Capricorn at all at that point when they couldn't, behave better or give more. But regardless, it happened, and it looks like they have a great desire to fix all of that energy. So here's hoping that they do. Anyway, I'm going to leave that one there. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you do enjoy the channel, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe. As always, I'm a fictional storyteller. And now I'm going to go ahead and pull a couple cards for Ms. Hermit. So let me go ahead and pull a few for you, sweetheart. Thank you again for being here, everybody. I'm absolutely delighted you guys are here. All right, so Ms. Hermit, let's start out with, I'm actually going to go with this deck for you. And this is because of an exchange that Ms. Hermit and I had last night while I was live, and I didn't get a chance to pull a card for her. And so I wanted to go ahead and take care of that tonight. I don't typically do this, if you're wondering. It's just the way things worked out. So here we go. My dear, we begin with a King of Pentacles, but we also have the Devil. We also have the Ten of Cups. Well, the only way I can say it, the Devil isn't, for me anyway, isn't always a big, terrible card. What it can be, though, is passion that leads almost to the road of, like, I have my blinders on. I only see one thing because that's what I want. That's the way I want it to be. It looks like a stable king has this intention that says, this is going to be my Ten of Cups. It is, it is, it is. And there's no telling this King of Pentacles anything else. They want a Ten of Cups. That's how it has to be. Now, is it realistic for them to demand this? The Devil would suggest no. Why then, sir, do you demand this? Okay, King of Cups, because I love it and I want it and I want it and I love it. And we have the Chariot. And this, I love this Chariot. This is such a groovy Chariot card because he's this completely like zenned out, blissed out DJ. And I love the fact that this version of the Chariot, instead of just like moving forward with good energy flow, it's moving forward with like the harmonious sounds, like almost of the universe. You know, it's blending together the woofer and the tweeter, the highs and lows in music, because this is the Chariot is usually about balance. But now we're talking about the balance of, sound and music and basically energy. So the thing is, this king, they actually really do want happiness, and they're intently convinced that they can have it because they really, truly are committed to this. Something has occurred within them, a change within them, a level of growth within them. We don't usually have a Chariot unless somebody really, truly has gone through some pretty big transformation, because they have to be balanced enough to move forward. So this is a character who has matured, who has, they've got their eye on the prize. I still have to ask about the Devil, though, one more time, because that is still lingering with there is still a negative connotation that I can't quite dismiss and say, oh, they just really, really want this. It feels a little bit more intense than that. Okay, so we've got the Hierophant in the reverse, and this is a very intense Hierophant card, too. This is an unpleasant marriage, actually, or an unpleasant, like, dogmatic forceful, like you must follow these rules. And they've broken away from that, but it feels as if this could be someone who says, I want a 10 of cups, but I am also fastidiously, like intent on having it my way. I won't budge, I won't change, and I won't alter the fact that what I don't want is something that makes me feel trapped. I maybe don't want a conventional kind of a marriage. I don't want any kind of like strict rules. What I want is for my heart to lead the way, and I want this happiness. But when it comes to something like a relationship or a marriage or something that is traditional like that, I want none of that. They seem to be vehemently against anything that's rigid, but very, very, very determined to have something that's really soul fulfilling. Okay, so we could say, well, I mean, this character definitely knows what they want. They definitely know what they're hungry for. And it feels like they're very sincere about something, but they're equally as intent that they will not budge on this other perspective that they have. Again, we have a King of Pentacles. Lot of divine masculine energy, even though I always say I don't read for genders, but we keep coming up with the same cards, kind of, despite whatever decks I use. This person is very stable. They want something stable. They want something heartfelt. But when it comes to anything that would feel confining, absolutely no. So it's interesting because a King of Pentacles would be like, they're not going to deviate. They're going to say something and they're going to mean it. Their word is going to be their bond. But if you asked them to sign it in a court document, they would say, nope, I won't do that. You just have to trust me. Like, that's kind of the vibe that I get off of this character, is like that. If they were speaking, that's what they would say if they were speaking for themselves right now. No, I won't sign a document, but you have to just trust me. Queen of Swords. They are really trying to convince, I would argue they're trying to convince a Queen of Swords how serious they are, but still have things their way. This could be, I mean, I don't have another way to explain this other than I think this person wants to be married without the marriage. They want to be together forever. They want to be believed that they are trustworthy, but they do not want something that feels rigid and dogmatic. They are telling a Queen of Swords, you can trust me, you can believe in me, I'm the real deal, but I still want things to be my way. Queen of Swords has her own opinions. That's Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy, and it's very logical, and that's very, I mean, they might be able to explain all of this to her. We've got a 5 of Cups, though, and we got a 2 of Swords. I don't think she's having any of it in this story. She's kind of thinking, but why do you get it all your way? Is this really something that someone could be uncompromising on and they still get to have it their way? I mean, they're being very persuasive that they want stuff their way. She's like, but as much as maybe it's going to make me sad to walk away from something, if it has to be all their way or the highway, I'm afraid that's exactly what it's going to be. She's blocking something, and we have a person standing here, and then in front of them we have like a mannequin. It's almost like she's trying to detach or act more detached about it because she doesn't like that one aspect. Maybe the unbending aspect of this king is kind of the way I'm looking at it. There's something here that I don't feel like our character likes. Even if this king is really loving and really warm, which they kept coming up in the upright, but where is the compromise? And as much as I think it bugs her or even hurts with that 5 of Cups, hurts to think about walking away from this, and she thinks about it a lot, I still think she's blocking it because there's not compromise here. That to me is the underlying issue. Where's the compromise? Ace of Swords and the Moon. Okay, the thing is, walking away from this and saying I'm cutting myself free of this, I still kind of think this isn't really what she wants to do. I think she's going to carry this along with her quite a bit. She has been carrying this along with her quite a bit. Carrying this, we see this skeleton head, the skull that is illuminating the darkness wherever she walks. It's like no matter where she goes, there's this submerged energy that she kind of keeps thinking about this. It's suppressed, though. Maybe she hasn't even told them, like, that uncompromising aspect is a sticking point here. That's the underlying reason why she walked away. it's almost like, here's the way I would say this. We have a character who has made a choice. She's made this choice about a situation, but hasn't fully explained what's the fundamental reason that she feared something really wouldn't work in the long run. And I would say it is the, you know, am I being fully respected? Are my wishes being seen as important as the other person's? Is there genuinely going to be compromise? Because this could be the tip of the iceberg where somebody gets it in their head, they want something their way, and it has to all go their way. And that's not going to work for me. So that would eventually erode like everything, every aspect of everything else. And I almost think that she's still kind of questioning in her own mind, what is the underlying thing that I didn't like about that scenario. Yeah, justice. This boils down to, is it fair? There's a battle between heart and mind here, but there's also the battle for equality. And I do feel like this is a Queen of Swords is never going to lose their place, their equality next to someone else. And I almost wonder if part of her still wanted this, but just can't succumb or can't subdue their own need for equality enough to say, okay, I'll acquiesce to this. This is a pretty strong, pretty powerful, maybe a divine feminine, with that being the queen. But I just feel as if there's this sticking point where she's like, I'm not going to lose my right to have equal say in what I want, even if it's to be with someone who is really kind of really loving and that I would want to be with, but they can't think that my wishes don't matter as much as theirs and that they don't have to compromise. Even though, in all fairness, we all have things that we don't compromise on. She won't compromise on this, right? So we have a 9 of Wands and we have a 10 of Wands. I just feel like eventually, if she is choosing not to deal with this person, which is kind of what it looks like this is the place where she draws a line in the sand, I think she's going to go ahead and make peace with that and lay this burden down and just say, I think that this wasn't the right one for me because the cost was too great. Even if somebody is wonderful, if I don't think that we would be able to have my wishes heard and my desires considered, I'm not going to have somebody where it's like their word is the final law. We would have to agree on things equally. And if I'm meeting a king, even a wonderful king, where they think that their final say is the way it's always going to be, then I'm never going to feel comfortable allowing someone to think that they have the ultimate dominion over me. That won't work. This is not really it's not a fight. It's more of a subtle thing that we're talking about here, but it's not subtle at all. It's a huge thing. It's the underlying concept of, does someone see me as their equal, a sovereign person with my own wishes, hopes, and dreams, and do they care about what's, hearing my wishes and considering what I want, or do they feel entitled to have the final say when it concerns my life as well? Because I don't want to deal with someone who would not see me as my own sovereign person. That's what I get out of this. Sorry, that was like a super deep one. That is what we got. I'm going to leave it there. However stories go, good, bad, or ugly, is just, that's the food for thought that we are left with. But thank you so much. Thank you very much for being so sweet. Also, Ms. Hermit, thank you for visiting and your wonderful vibes as always. Wonderful to see all of you guys tonight. Take care. Bye, guys.